Hey guys, I'm Ted and I'm here to give you another fast fact. And for today's fast fact, we'll discuss the peculiar election of 1824. Now, the election of 1824 was one of two major elections in the early republic's history that sort of became watershed moments. The previous election, the only other election to really have such an impact on a nation was the election of 1800, in which Burr and Hamilton contested the presidency, and that election went to the House of Representatives as well. It also led to the adoption of the 12th Amendment to sort of specifically decide who was going to receive votes for the presidency and who were going to receive votes for the vice presidency. With the election of 1800, the voting actually went to 36 ballots. On the 36th, after the 35th, Hamilton came in and denounced Burr and told the Federalists to endorse Jefferson, believing that he can work with Madison and Jefferson, but that nobody could ever work with Burr because Burr was a madman. With the election of 1824, we had almost the exact same situation. We had four candidates being championed by four different regions. This was the first time that sectional tensions had really come in prominently in the nation, in the nation's political thinking, and in the nation's political organization. The results were pretty dismal for all candidates, for everybody involved. It did not. It didn't really come out the way anybody thought. Jackson swept. He swept into the polls and received a majority of the popular vote, but he did not carry enough states in the electoral college. He did not have the outright number of electoral votes. He acquired only 99. John Quincy Adams came in second with 84. William Crawford of Georgia brought in 41. And Henry Clay. Clay was the man who was supposed to take the election, but Clay only managed to garner 37 electoral votes, coming a dismal fourth and being dropped under the terms of the 12th Amendment. He was dropped from presidential consideration. Only the top three electoral vote earning candidates were allowed to have their names written on ballots in the House for voting on. So Clay was out, but he was still in it to win it. He could still, because he was still Speaker of the House of Representatives, so he could still influence the election. And we'll get to him in another proper lecture, not a fast fact. But this election was dangerous to the nation. The great rifts, the great sectional rifts, have been exposed. The various regions were now at loggerheads with each other, and no one really knew how the candidates would react if they didn't win. Andrew Jackson had a reputation, had a hot head. Clay was a consummate politician. Crawford, no one really knew what Crawford were, not really Crawford, but Crawford's supporters. No one really knew how Crawford's supporters would react. And Adams, no one really knew if Adams or anyone who supported him would support any of the other candidates, namely Jackson. It really boils down to Jackson's supporters, and Jackson's detractors. Nobody knew how the other side was going to react, if anyone would accept an unsuitable candidate in their minds, if it would lead to disunion or worse, civil war. And there you guys have it. That is our fast fact on the election of 1824. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys found it a little entertaining and mostly insightful. I'm Ted. Like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you thought about this fast fact, and I'll see you guys next time for another fast fact.